Alright, so today we will go through a few basics for Twitter. Essentially, it's what the use of Twitter is, how to structure a tweet, and a little experiment so you can try to break out of your eggshell. If we have some time or people later that have some extra questions, I'll be happy to answer those as well. Alright, so we will start with the presentation. Here are some points for you to consider. Is this for business or pleasure? You want to keep your Twitter name short. You want it to be an identifiable name. You want it to be memorable. And here is a very quick video on how to create your Twitter account. If you haven't already done so, I will probably just push past this in just a moment.
Media, and I'm going to show you how to sign up for a Twitter account. Just go to twitter.com, and on the right side you'll see a sign up button. You just click that. You'll see your full name box. Just enter that in. Enter your desired username, password, your email address, and below it you'll see an option for others to be able to find you by your email address. You can select that. That way later on people who actually know you and your email address will be able to find your account easier. If your account's to be anonymous, just uncheck that. You can also opt into a monthly or so email from Twitter, but they don't really send it too frequently. So you just want to uncheck that. Press create my account. You'll enter in the CAPTCHA to make sure you're human, and then you have an account.
Okay, so now you have the basics on how to create a basic Twitter account. Again, once you've created your account, or before you've created your account, keep in mind that the amount of characters that you're using in your Twitter name will affect how many characters you can actually use in a tweet. A lot of people still use the original retweet format, which is simply just putting in capital RT before a tweet someone else had sent out, and that requires you to use additional resources. So the smaller your Twitter name or handle can be, the better. Alright. Onto the structure of a tweet. Here are some basic starter tweets that you'll often see. Someone will be discussing what they're going to be doing, where they're going to eat, that sort of thing. So let's say, hey, I'm going out to get some burgers. Obviously, this is more of a personalized account rather than a company-related thing. Here's another tweet. You obviously see there's no hashtags. It's just kind of sent out there. There's no one in mind that this is being geared towards. So it's likely that it'll just sit there and get pushed over. Here is an example of a recent tweet from a Red Cross, the actual official Red Cross team. As you can see, this is not exactly a professional tweet either. This was a mishap after using Hootsuite, which combined several different Twitter accounts. Unfortunately, the social media person sent out through the Red Cross team rather than their personal account. So here we'll show you an example of proper uses in a company rather than improper use. So what is the right way to tweet and what is the wrong way to tweet? As you can see here, this is the screen cap of the actual tweet from Red Cross. And that would be wrong. However, the Red Cross also had a follow-up, which was a great way to raise additional money. As you can see, they've said, "We've deleted the rogue tweet, but rest assured the Red Cross is sober and we've confiscated the keys." So they came up and made it kind of humorous, and eventually this actually hit mainstream media. It was on Mashable and many other websites. So a lot of other people started donating blood and money to the Red Cross. For each tweet, you have exactly 140 characters to get your message across. However, that's not exactly the case. As you saw with creating your Twitter name, that affects how many characters you can actually use. So there's sort of an art that you actually have to put together when using these tweets. If you're attempting to reach community, you need a hashtag. Essentially what these hashtags are, you just use the pound key or use Shift 3 and it'll show the pound. And that will allow you to insert any community into your tweet. Now these are relatively unstructured communities, so anyone can go in and out of them. There's no way really to privatize them. There's no way to lock down who owns what community. There's just sort of a uniform. Whoever uses it the most kind of gets access to that community. So for example, I'll just pull up Twitter real quick. And let's just say, for instance, that I want to talk about Gov2O or open government. Say, you just add your hashtag, type in Gov2O, and you send the tweet. Now anyone who monitors this Gov2O community will see this tweet pop up. Well, doesn't really want to show up right now. Essentially, there's a lot of common people in that community, so it's easy to kind of really start connecting with these individuals, and that will bring me to my next point. And that will be breaking out of your shell. Alright, so for this next experiment, we don't really need to, I guess, view any of this stuff. As a new or beginner to Twitter, all you'll really want to do is find a community or a hobby that you really enjoy. Let's say, for instance, you like knitting. Well, you can probably type in knitting and find people just discussing knitting on Twitter. Well, it's simple as that. All you have to do is find someone who's just publicly talking about it. See, Ryo swimming and I'm knitting. Well, maybe you want to talk to a random person about knitting. This is exactly how connections are made on Twitter. Unfortunately, I'm not really into knitting. I'm into social media, so I will look up that, and we'll see if there's just someone we can find a random connection with. Back to our example. We see someone here has a simple tweet that says, "New company name is Social Media is Simple, focusing on getting small businesses started. New Twitter account, I already have 2 accounts." So essentially this person just wants a suggestion for a Twitter handle, and it's just pushing it out there. So there's no hashtag attached to it, there's no connection. It's probably just to her followers, and she's kind of hoping someone will give her advice. So this is a perfect way to start. Just make a connection with anyone you don't know. Alright. So let's just start with a random tweet to the user. Oops. How's it? Sorry, we have some tweet questions coming in. Okay. Actually, we'll go back to that in a moment. Okay, so we have a basic tweet. We'll just send it out there, see if they respond. Again, with hobbies, it's probably a little easier to connect with people. As an example, my fiance actually has a lot of wedding-related and food bloggers that she connects with. She probably actually is a little better with her communities on Twitter just because my professional communities are a little bit more about news and a little less about talking. Alright, so we'll just go into replies. What I sent out before was, how is everyone doing on President's Day? As you can see, I received few responses. There's Alex Howard, who's pretty much social media genius, and then we have my coworker Lisa. So there's your basic responses to, if you stick it out in a community, someone might be likely to respond. And that is your basic intro to social media for beginners. And I will answer a couple of questions that appeared in Google Moderator. Alright, so as you can see, we have a couple of questions. It just says, how many characters should I use out of the 140? Alright, for example, my main Twitter account is the Journalizer. That's my unprofessional, I just kind of put comments out there. It's almost like a notepad. Out of that 140, I would say maybe just leave at least 11 extra spaces. A lot of people still love using that original retweet option, so it's just best to keep at least 11. However, for my professional account, I purposely made it only 3 characters long. It's E5V. That way you kind of get a little more fluctuation with how much you can use for characters. And since I create a lot of links and you source back to each other, it helps out. As for what is the purpose of a hashtag, well, I kind of went into that a little bit before, but more in depth, those hashtags kind of really gear you into a community. It also helps with just connecting to anyone. You'd be surprised who actually uses Twitter and who will respond. If they're a verified account, you're probably less likely to get a response from someone. However, people like Alex O'Harian, who co-founded Reddit, I often bother him on Twitter just because he's quite responsive and he's pretty clever when it comes to community building. And in my profession, it's kind of good to get a wide range of how you build communities and whatnot. So it's really good to find a community that you can connect with. Hashtags are also used for Twitter chats. Every Wednesday, there's it's a consultant group called Chatterbacks from Jay Daughtry. We usually have a basic social media, just kind of shoot some thoughts around, and it's pretty good to find a Twitter chat to really converse with others in your field. And there's likely a lot of different Twitter chats, even just for hobbies. There's a resource on Play This Media under the Twitter field that you'll be able to actually find these Twitter chats as well. If you just go to our main page, hit Twitter, you can just hit this little thing that says spreadsheet, and there are hundreds of different chats that you can connect with, and it says the times, dates, all that other kind of stuff. If you haven't looked at that, I would definitely suggest you do that, because a Twitter chat will definitely be your great starting point to find a lot of organic followers. Which brings me to my next point. No matter what anyone says, do not purchase followers. They're not worth money if they're just a simple number next to your name. The only way to really grow your Twitter account and your follower account is organic growth. So connect with people, talk with your friends on there, talk with your friends' friends. It doesn't matter. If you can just connect with anyone, that's the way to grow your account.